Monday, 14th of August, 2023. I'm going to read through 5 articles, all published today. The first is in regards to a severe dog attack on a 5-year-old girl. The second is in regards to a 16-year-old boy in Greater Manchester, England, who was shot in the chest with a shotgun. The third article is in regards to a man that was stabbed to death in a hotel resort in Melbourne, Australia. The fourth article is in regards to the SA of a 14-year-old girl who was a missing girl, and she was found on a US Marine base. You might be familiar with this story. We're just going to go over it a little bit. There's a couple of new details that have come out. Not a great deal, but we'll just cover that in any case. And the last article is another tragedy. A 16-year-old boy has been fatally stabbed in New South Wales, Corindi Beach, believed to have been stabbed by his schoolmate, a 17-year-old boy who is in custody. So 5 articles. I'm going to read through all of them. I'll be making individual videos of them as well. I'll also be making shorts. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the videos as you see fit. Feel free to comment at your heart's content, give me feedback, positive, negative, either way is perfectly fine. And we're going to go through one article at a time. The first is in regards to 5-year-old Farah Lee Nichol, who was savaged by a bully-type dog outside of a corner shop, a grocery store, a supermarket in Teesside, which is in the Newcastle area of England, Northern England. So we're told that Farah Lee Nichol, 5 years of age, had gone to stroke or pet the pocket bully. So that's the breed of dog, a pocket bully. She had gone to stroke the dog after asking permission to do so. This happened 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. And as 5-year-old Farah Lee Nichol gently patted the animal's head, it pounced and it bit a huge chunk out of Farah Lee's left cheek. Now we see a few photos that I've posted, but in the Daily Mail article there is one photo in particular which shows the huge chunk that has been bitten out of Farah Lee's cheek. It's a very bloody mess. It literally is a huge chunk of flesh bitten out of her cheek, a 5-year-old girl. It's a shocking photo, so I've not posted it because it may cause distress and it may upset YouTube. So we're told that the 5-year-old girl's father kicked the dog away, scooped up his daughter, and rushed her to hospital where she is being treated for serious facial injuries. She's going to be having skin graft operations. So at the point of publication of the article that I've gone through, we're told that the 5-year-old had had 1 operation. She's facing 2 more. So it's a terrible situation for a young girl to be in, but thankfully she's got the full love and support of her family, of her parents, and local people as well. So we're told that the dog breed is a pocket bully, which is a cross between an American Pit Bull Terrier and a Patterdale Terrier. We're told that the dog has been put down. I applaud that. I'm a dog lover, I'm a cat lover, but I abhor these violent animals. I'm sure not all American Pit Bull Terriers, not all pocket bullies, not all Patterdale Terriers are violent, but seemingly, as far as I can tell, having read through quite a lot of these articles at this point, they have a propensity. There's a certain percentage that will attack. We're told that Farah, the 5-year-old girl, asked permission to pet the dog by the owner who complied with authorities. So I applaud the owner in that regard. I'm sure the dog owner didn't want this attack to occur. I'm sure he's as shocked as anyone, but the attack did occur through no fault of the 5-year-old girl, Farah. So thankfully the father was there. He did attack the dog. The father stamped on the dog, which I don't blame him for. He did the right thing, at that point. So that's pretty much all the information that we have. It is quite a nice article that we've gone through. The Daily Mail article gives us quite a bit of information. It reminds us that the number of dog attacks in England has increased significantly over recent years. One potential reason for that is dog owners don't exercise their dogs enough, and dogs are often left at home alone for, hours on end, all day long, day after day. Perhaps there's a husband and wife, a mom and a dad, but they both have to go to work. So the dogs are essentially abandoned at home, and with that they get frustrated, they get angry, they develop behavioral issues. So it's not a good situation. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it's easier said than done to say, hey, look, just spend more time with your pets. People don't necessarily have that time. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. There is a GoFundMe for Farah Lee to help her go to Disneyland once she's well enough to do so. I do hope that they do achieve their goal. I'm not sure what it is, but more importantly, I do hope that she's able to make a full recovery facially, but also emotionally as well. It's going to really hurt a young child's confidence. So I hope she's able to find the strength to remain the happy little child that she once was. Some of the photos she is smiling, so that's good to see. So I'll wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. Two boys who were arrested after a 16-year-old was shot in the chest have been released on bail. That's right. A 16-year-old boy was set upon by 14 males. So 14 boys, some of them perhaps men, we're not entirely sure. But a 16-year-old was attacked by 14 males, two of which went up to him at close range with a shotgun and shot him in the chest. Thankfully, the 16-year-old boy in question had an angel looking over him. Not only has he survived, but he has non-life-threatening injuries. I don't wish to downplay things too much. As far as I understand, the 16-year-old boy, who has not been named, is still hospitalized. He's still in a serious condition. Let's hope and pray he does make a full recovery, but it's quite remarkable that he has survived being shot at close range in the chest by a shotgun. So going back to one of the shocking parts of this case is that the two boys that have been arrested in relation to the attempted murder of the 16-year-old boy, they're aged 15 years old and 16 years old. They've been released on bail. So for some unknown reason that I can't quite fathom, the Greater Manchester Police decided to let their key suspects go. Why would they do that? That is just so dumb. Of course, this is a fairly short article. It's fairly new in the investigation. This incident happened Thursday afternoon, a few days ago. But why the heck would the police release the two prime suspects, regardless of their age? They believe them to have gone up at close range and shot a 16-year-old boy at point blank range in the chest. And that's after 14 males had attacked this 16-year-old boy. Why would the police want them walking the streets again? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So we're told that the shooting happened in the afternoon, in the broad daylight. There were other kids playing in the area when seemingly 14 males attacked a 16-year-old. Why? Well, we don't know why, but I would have to assume that it's gang related. Perhaps the 16-year-old victim was a gang member, is a gang member. Perhaps they're not, but I would be very confident that the 14 males that attacked the 16-year-old, they're gang members, at least most of them. They're mob members, and I've got to feel sorry for the people of Stretford and Greater Manchester for living in such a frankly shithole, riddled by crime such that your children get shot in the chest with shotguns. They get attacked by hordes of males, 14. So I hope and pray the 16-year-old boy, again, he hasn't been named. I hope and pray that he is able to make a full recovery, that he does survive. I hope that justice is served. I hope the Greater Manchester Police wake the F up and revoke any bail for their prime suspects. A 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, they were arrested and charged with attempted murder in regards to shooting the 16-year-old boy at close range in the chest with a shotgun. But then the police decide, oh, it's all right, boys. These things happen. On your way. What the heck are they thinking? Police are asking for anyone with information to come forward. Perhaps you have CCTV footage of the incident, dashcam footage, doorbell footage. If anyone has any information, please do reach out to authorities. And I do hope that crime is reduced in these areas. I grew up at a time when Manchester was riddled with no-go areas. It was the only place in England at the time, maybe Liverpool, that had no-go areas. Police didn't feel safe going in certain parts of Manchester. I grew up a few decades ago, so it's a bit sad to see that likely things have devolved even further. So I hope the authorities are able to stamp out crime. I presume youth crime in general. I presume gang crime. Do what you have to do. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd lock them all up. I'd make sure that the 14 males that attacked the 16-year-old are locked up. Even if they're 15, even if they're 14, even if they're 10, I would lock them up. Personally, if it were up to me. Okay, you're not going to put a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old into an adult prison. Sure, I get that. But you've got to give them some level of severe punishment to stamp out these gang crimes, these gangs. Maybe you go after the parents. Maybe you jail the parents. Hey parents, your 9-year-old kid is causing havoc. They're a part of this gang. They're going around stabbing people, threatening people, drug dealing, doing this, doing that. We're not really in a position to do too much to the 9-year-old, so parents, you're going to pay. You're going to spend some time in jail. And then maybe that will teach you how to be a proper parent. Maybe that will serve as a reminder to other parents in the community that they ought to ensure that their children don't go around committing crime. Anyway, I've gone on a bit of a ramble there, so I'll wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. A man has been found dead at a resort called the Seasons 5 Resort and Spa in Point Cook, southwest of Melbourne. This happened Sunday afternoon at around 3 p.m, whereby a man believed to be in his 30s was found with severe knife wounds, and tragically he succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Following that, a police chase ensued. Thankfully, the suspect was arrested. He's believed to be a 28-year-old man from Diggers Rest, which is in northwest Melbourne. That 28-year-old was arrested at the scene. It's believed that the 28-year-old and the victim in his 30s knew each other and that they had gotten into an altercation. They were in a fight. Seemingly, allegedly, the 28-year-old stabbed the man in his 30s, and the 28-year-old is now in custody but yet to be charged. Why is the Australian police so slow in these kind of situations? Maybe they've got good reason to be. I presume they do have good reason to be. I presume they don't want to make a mistake. They want to apply the correct charge. That's my guess. I don't know what's going on. But clearly, they arrested the man after a police chase. So what happened was the 28-year-old drove off, smashed into several vehicles, got out of the car that he was in, tried to get into another car, so presumably tried to steal another car, but he wasn't able to. He was chased on foot by police. Witnesses said it was like a movie. Thankfully, police did apprehend the man. He was covered in blood. So, I mean, I would think the police have got enough evidence that the 28-year-old man from Diggers Rest in northwest Melbourne is the guilty party. And what would he be guilty of? Well, it's either manslaughter or murder, isn't it? Tragically, the man in his 30s died due to injuries sustained. The police haven't yet found the murder weapon, which they believe to be a knife, or rather at the point of publication of this article the police hadn't found the murder weapon. Of course, they're searching the area. They have been searching the area. A forensic investigation is underway. If anyone has any information, perhaps you have dashcam or CCTV footage, do reach out to authorities. And of course, at this point I'm going to say full condolences to the family and friends of the victim. Again, the victim and the prime suspects have not been named at this point. Perhaps those details will come out over the next few days, but full condolences to the family and friends, perhaps co-workers, of the man believed to be in his 30s, seemingly stabbed to death following an altercation with somebody that he knew. What was the altercation about? Don't know. We don't have any idea whatsoever. Perhaps it was crime related. Perhaps it was gang related, drugs related. We don't know. Perhaps it wasn't anything to do with that. Perhaps it was a family argument. Perhaps they were relatives. Who knows? We're told that they are believed to have known each other, but we don't know the nature of their relationship. Perhaps they were friends. Perhaps they were neighbours, we don't know. To some degree, maybe it's all irrelevant. The point is, a fight occurred, presumably a stabbing occurred, and a man's life has been taken away. So it's an absolute tragedy. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. Take care. A US Marine detained last month, July 2023, after superiors discovered a then missing teenager in his barracks, has now been charged with the SA of the minor concerned. So this is a story which has evolved over the last month or two. A 14-year-old girl was missing as of June the 10th, 2023, and she was found 18 days later at the San Diego County's Camp Pendleton Marine Base. That's right, a missing teenager, 14 years old, was found at a Marine base. Well, that's a bit odd. Well, it gets even worse. The family have claimed that the girl was being held captive as a sex slave. Sounds kind of far-fetched, doesn't it? Sounds kind of bizarre. A 14-year-old girl being held in a Marine base doesn't sound right. Well, we don't know all the details. It's a military investigation, and the military are not going to release any information or much information until a hearing has occurred. That hearing's planned to occur this coming Thursday. So we are told that a man was arrested and has been charged with the SA of the minor concerned. We're not told the girl's name, naturally. And we're also told that the same Marine is facing another unrelated charge. So, as I say, the military isn't giving us a great deal of information at this point. But seemingly, this Marine, or is it Marines plural, but certainly at least this one Marine, has been charged with 2 incidences. It seems possible that they're completely separate incidences, that the victims are different people. We don't know. There's too much of a lack of information being released at this point, but it does give some credence to the family's concern that the 14-year-old girl was being held as a sex slave at a Marine base. How many people work or even live at a Marine base? I don't know the answer to that. I would think hundreds, perhaps thousands. How can they keep a girl, a 14-year-old, a minor, captive without other people knowing about it? What's the suggestion there? Well, the suggestion is that other people did know about it. Other Marines were aware that a 14-year-old girl was being held captive on the base. That's what's being suggested by some. Some are suggesting that the officers, senior members of the Marines, senior members of the military, were aware that this girl, perhaps other victims, were being held captive and used as sex slaves on the base. It's shocking. It's hard to believe, but this one Marine in question, his name hasn't been released, has been charged in regards to the SA of a minor, and that one Marine is also facing another charge from a prior unrelated case in regards to violating liberty restriction. So clearly, as far-fetched as this case seems, clearly there is at least some truth to the allegations. As I say, that's all the information that this article is presenting us with. Not a great deal. There's a lot of cloudiness about this case, which is quite unfortunate because it does seem to be completely heinous, completely very, very important subject for the public to know about. If this is a real situation, if there has been systematic capture of one or more minors at a US base, Marine base, then there needs to be a very, very thorough investigation, the results of which will need to be made public. And a very important case, but at this point, we're not really told anything. The public doesn't know what the heck's going on. Maybe that will change after the hearing, which is coming up this Thursday. Of course, I'm going to say thoughts and prayers to the victim, alleged to have been SA'd, alleged to have been held captive on the Marine base. Thoughts and prayers to her family. We don't know the full details of why the girl was missing, if she ran away, if she was unhappy at home, if there was other criminal activity going on prior to her going missing. We don't know. So let's hope that she is okay. We're told that she's living with her grandmother at this point. The family is concerned about repercussions from the military. It's very conspiratorial, this subject, but a lot of conspiracies are born out of truth. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the content, the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care. A 17-year-old boy has been charged with murdering another teenager in a fatal stabbing incident at a popular town beach on the New South Wales north coast. This happened shortly before 6 p.m. Sunday yesterday. Emergency services were called to Pacific Street at Corindi Beach, 26 kilometers north of Coffs Harbour. Looks like a beautiful place of the world. A 16-year-old boy was treated at the scene by paramedics for stab wounds to his thigh. He was rushed to Coffs Harbour Health Campus, but tragically, the 16-year-old died in hospital shortly after. Police have confirmed that a 17-year-old male has been charged with murder. We're not told the name of the victim. We're not told the name of the prime suspect. We're not told the name of the prime suspect, the 17-year-old boy who stabbed the 16-year-old. What we are told is that both boys were known to each other and they both attended the same high school. They were schoolmates. That high school is called Woolgoolga High School, and full condolences to the family, friends, schoolmates, school teachers of the victim, those in the local community, going to be shocked by this tragedy. I'm also going to say full condolences to the family of the prime suspect, a 17-year-old, stabbed his schoolmate. Perhaps they were mates, perhaps they weren't, but they knew each other. They went to the same school. We're told that the 17-year-old has been charged with murder as well as possession of a prohibited drug. Is the fact that the 17-year-old had drugs on him a relevant point? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this was a drug-related incident. Maybe there was a drug deal going on, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. In New South Wales, weed is illegal. He could have had some weed on him. My point there is that we don't know the full details. My guess would be the drug possession is just some casual drugs. Nothing overly important in my mind. You may disagree, you may be anti all drugs, but in Australia, if you have some weed, that's kind of normal. We don't know the full details, but either way, the 16-year-old boy was stabbed in the thigh. He suffered extensive blood loss and tragically he died in hospital. Again, this happened shortly before 6 p.m. on Sunday, yesterday, at Corindi Beach, 26 kilometers north of Coffs Harbour. If I understand correctly, the stabbing literally took place at a vacant block, basically on the side of the road. So it is an absolute tragedy. Again, full condolences to all those touched by this tragedy. I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit.